off the ball. This is News Talk.
Now you're welcome back. So we're talking Cheltenham Day 1. John Duggan, come in. Hey, John, you there?
Yes, Joe, good evening.
We got you now. So you're still very much there. Last man standing by the looks of your background in the media tent. They're all packing up for the day.
Joe, look, this is what it's all about. It's all about, look, I wouldn't stop anyway, to be honest, because there's so much to get through from today and then looking ahead to tomorrow. So we're on pure adrenaline, no worries there.
So this, if you take last year behind closed doors and 2020 being very associated with the arrival of COVID and the question marks over the festival continuing, this is the first time Cheltenham's looked like Cheltenham since about 2019, which is a long time.
68,567 souls, Joe, letting probably 2 years of pent-up feelings about Cheltenham exhale today. When Honeysuckle went up the hill and crossed the line to win the champion hurdle, I heard a sound I rarely hear at sporting events, that crackling sound of a crowd, and it's rare that I would hear that. And that's how deafening the roar was when Honeysuckle came through for Rachael Blackmore. I think the story everybody wanted. Obviously, there's a bit of money behind that in the ring, because that's where the action there happens. But look, it was 2 years ago. We know it shouldn't have happened. It was a very worrying time. It was a strange time last year. It was behind closed doors, as you say. And there was a touch of the roaring 20s about today. There was definitely a touch of people just hanging off the rafters, even if they weren't doing so. But in their minds, there was people rushing through the gates here at 10 o'clock this morning. There was a real verve and excitement and buzz for Cheltenham today.
So Honeysuckle and Rachael Blackmore, I think it's fair to say we're talking about quite the duo here. Unbeaten in 15 races. They have retained the champion hurdle. We'll come to Blackmore in a moment because I know you spoke to Rachael Blackmore. But for Honeysuckle, presumably retaining a champion hurdle and this unbeaten 15 race record elevates her into a pretty rarefied atmosphere. Just how special now is Honeysuckle after today?
Very special, Joe. The first ever mare to retain a champion hurdle. I would say our best mare since Dawn Run. And Dawn Run won the champion hurdle in 1984 in the Gold Cup 2 years later, and has become the only mare to ever, and only horse to ever win the champion hurdle Gold Cup double. For Honeysuckle to go back to back, I think it's the unbeaten aspect as well. She won her point and now she's won 15 under rules. And she is so versatile. She's won over 2.5 miles and she went back to 2 miles for this champion hurdle last year. And I think the race today, Joe, was stronger. Actually stronger opposition against her, and I think that the horse, the mare and the jockey are in complete simpatico. You know, there's the way Rachael rode the horse, she trusted the horse to deliver for her. So Honeysuckle was quite wide early on, and then when they got to the top of the hill, she went inside and she was waiting for a gap, and eventually the gap came, and once the gap came, she just stormed through the gap and she used her turn of foot around the bend, and then when she got to the last hurdle, the race was over. And I really was impressed by the way she powered up the hill to win for the second year in a row. So once again as well, I didn't even think, only when I was actually just kind of putting a few notes together in the last half hour, I never even thought, Joe, about breaking glass ceilings or any of that kind of talk this year. It's just the fact that Rachael Blackmore is riding supreme with confidence, and she's got a horse under her that she really believes in. And Henry de Bram had a great training performance because he was under pressure, because he hasn't had the most prolific of seasons winners-wise. So Rachael is at the top of her game, and she knew she was on the best horse, and that was the way the horse delivered for her, and that's the way the race transpired.
You managed to grab a few words with Rachael Blackmore after the win. So here she is, and if you're just listening on the radio, she seems to be running from race to changing room or in the midst of the afternoon. So here's John speaking with Rachael Blackmore. Have a listen.
Incredible. She's a phenomenal mare. We're also lucky to be involved with her. Fantastic to have Kenny Alexander here today, and brilliant to have the crowd as well.
How are you feeling going into the race?
I was actually really looking forward to it. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of pressure when you're riding an unbeaten favourite in the champion hurdle. But yeah, I was looking forward to it. Like, I have a lot of confidence in her deep down, I suppose, because she. I just know what she's capable of, and it's brilliant.
How did the race compare to last year?
I suppose halfway around I wasn't as happy. I was a little bit wider than I would have liked, but I just feel like no matter what the conditions, she seems to just pull it out of the bag.
Last year there was no crowd. Did you hear the crowd as you came up the hill?
It's incredible. It really is. And like the whole way walking back down in the chute, Chloe and Coleman walked her back down as well, and like the three of us were just buzzing. It was class.
And the feeling in here in the winners' enclosure then?
Unbelievable. It's a special place to walk back into any time of the year, but to walk back in with that crowd, the whole way around you is very special.
Your family are here as well?
Yeah, it's brilliant to have them here, and there's a lot of people get enjoyment out of it, and it's fantastic.
Just a word about Henry de Bromhead.
Yeah, look, incredible. I don't know, like to produce her the way he does every day, it's pretty phenomenal. We know what he did last year. He's an exceptional trainer, and I'm very lucky to be riding on his team.
Finally, the mare herself, what a horse, never been beaten.
Yeah, she's incredible. So, we're all very lucky.
You did well to get the one-on-one, John, because in the video, certainly, she's very politely answering your questions, but she's also woman on a mission. Like, I have to get going here. I've got other stuff to do. So at that stage, she was right in the midst of the afternoon.
Nobody could get her after the race because she came out quite late, because there was a race actually straight afterwards.
Okay.
So the only people who got her were ITV and Racing TV. And then she fell. She was brought down in the following race on Tell Me Something Girls. So she was a bit sore, and then I just managed to grab her. And it's a bit like Tiger Woods in any interview where you got 2 minutes.
Yes.
That's all you have.
No,
and
you did.
Make sure you get it right. So.
You did well. So she had 6 winners last year, was the leading rider of the festival. How is the rest of her week shaping up then?
Well, I think the thing about today is that Henry de Bromhead's yard has shown itself now into be decent order, because that was the question mark. So she rides at Plutar in the Gold Cup on Friday. And Plutar was very impressive at Haydock earlier in the season, then beaten just a short head by Galvin in the Irish 3-mile chase at Leopardstown at Christmas. So this is a positive sign, I think, for Rachael and the Plutar on Friday. So I'd expect her to have another couple of winners. It was a strange day, Joe, in that there were 4 UK winners and 3 Irish winners. So the home team are back, as it were, because it was getting a bit embarrassing. And it's important that Britain has a strong representation here of winners, because there's 12 times the population. It's on terrestrial television. It's on ITV. And those winners were Constitution Hill in the Supreme Novices Hurdle, part of a double for Nicky Henderson, the trainer, and Nico de Boinville, the jockey. The other horse that they won on was Marie's Rocket, 18-1 chance in the Mares Hurdle, and the other English winners, Edward Stone in the Arkle Chase, and then a Scottish winner of the Ultimate Handicap Chase, Carrick Rambler, for Lucinda Russell, the trainer. A good ride by Derek Fox. The other 2 Irish winners, Joe, were Brazil, a 10-1 in the Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, beat Gaelic Warrior, the hot shot, by a short head. And then Statler took the Amateur Riders National Hunt Chase for jockey Patrick Mullins and trainer Willy Mullins. That was an aid of the Ukraine appeal for the British Red Cross. And the jockeys wore the flag of Ukraine on their armbands today, and obviously it's not far from people's mind amid all the enjoyment.
I have a clip here of Willy Mullins, actually. So he was talking after eventually, in at the last with the winner. So here's Willy Mullins.
Cheltenham will have to look into that. Maybe the good horses are scaring away the other horses. I don't know, but it's something that probably there were very few runners today altogether, and that seems to be a trend during the week. So that'll have to be looked at, I think.
It's hard to know. I mean, it's just a clip. I wasn't entirely sure. We played it in the news round. You might be able to shed some light on it. Is he talking about the handicaking there, or what's your read of what Mullins is talking about?
I haven't heard the interview in full, Joe, but I would expect that it might be to the fact that the race Statler won only had 6 runners. The race got up on Deschamps on Thursday only has 4 runners. The first race, the Supreme Novice Hurdle today, only had 9 runners. So there are races with over 20 runners. There's a couple with over 20 today, but that's the issue with the 4-day festival. I suppose it's only kind of topical, Joe, because they're talking about a 5-day festival at the moment. It's not going to happen next year, but it could be on the cards for 2024 onwards. When you're seeing a record crowd today, 68,000 people coming through the gates, when the Gold Cup's been sold out since January, when Thursday's also a sellout, it's a bit of a no-brainer for the bean counters to say, look, why don't we have a 5th day like Royal Ascot, make this a Saturday festival, and pump millions and millions of pounds into the jockey club and the British racing economy. But from a quality point of view, there is a dilution.
So does today, because in advance of the festival, the general sense was that there would be more Irish winners than British winners. Does today change that viewpoint significantly?
No, it doesn't, because Constitution Hill and Edward Stone were both favourites, and they would have been expected to do very well. So I actually think those horses winning was a good thing for the home team. No, I'd expect more Irish winners than British winners. 2015 was the last time there was a home win.
let's talk day 2 then, the champion chase. So Nicky Henderson, Shishkin is the 5-4 on favourite. I see Willy Mullins has the next 2 in the betting. Henry de Bromhead has Envoy Allen, Rachael Blackmore on board. So your thoughts on the champion chase tomorrow, John?
It's going to identify a great champion, Joe. It's going to be a great race at half 3, 2 miles. No prisoners taken, really. They got to jump at speeds. They got to jump well, the horses. There was a race there at Ascot recently which Shishkin beat an Ergoman in on kind of deep ground, and it was a real great battle. It was like a harking back to the days of the great 2 mile chasers like Badsworth Boy and, Masterminded and that. But there was always a suspicion that a race can leave a mark, and I don't think that's been talked about in advance of this champion chase tomorrow. That race could have left a mark on Shishkin and an Ergoman. Like, an Ergoman is a very good jumper, and that's what Paul Town and his jockeys is going to try and do, use his jumping. Shishkin has got to turn a foot, a bit like his former stable mate Altior, who won the champion chase. So Shishkin will look to pounce off the front runners when they come around the bend and down the hill as they approach the final fence. Chacun Pour Soi is a really, really good horse, and he's been brilliant in Ireland, especially at Punchestown. He's won at Leopardstown, but when he's gone away from home, he's disappointed. He was only third in this race last year when a hot favourite. He went to Sandown earlier this season and flopped. But with raw material and with talent, he has a lot of talent. And if he produces his best, he can definitely challenge the front 2. I can see no winner beyond the 3 of them. Last year's winner put the kettle on. I think the race this year is a better race, and she hasn't had the best of seasons. Nube Negra, I think, is a horse probably suited to flatter tracks, and last year's race didn't have a lot of pace in it. So I can see Shishkin and Ergoman or Chacun Pour Soi winning. I think the question marks are, Joe, did that race leave a mark on Shishkin and an Ergoman, and can Chacun Pour Soi deliver finally, because it's going to be his last chance as a 10-year-old in a champion chase. Shishkin has won at the festival twice, and I think if he's right, if Shishkin is right, and if he jumps well, I think he'll win.
Yeah, okay. Other storylines of note at a glance: the first race tomorrow, Sir Gerhard for Willy Mullins is an 8-13 favourite, and then of course 4 Tiger Roll, 12 years of age, going again. Probably a farewell, really, looking for a 6th Cheltenham Festival win.
Yeah, I had it down as 5 here, but you might actually it would be 6, wouldn't it? Because he's had 5 victories so far. So he won a Triumph Hurdle, he won a 4 mile chase, and he's won 3 cross country. So you're right, it would be 6. It's going to be his last race. This is going to be it. 12 years of age. He's a specialist over these unique types of obstacles in the cross country chase. Gordon Elliott hasn't had a winner yet. Obviously, he's back this year. He's been a brilliant horse. He's won 2 Grand Nationals, and I think a bit like Honeysuckle, he'll be the story of the day tomorrow. Whatever happens in the champion chase, which will be a great race. There's also the Bumper, which is a race for all these horses with unbelievable potential that they have yet to completely show. So it's the great talking race at the festival, Joe. It's the one you have the late night phone calls about, and the whispers, and who's working well in this. And Facile Vega, the son of Quivega, American Mike, Redemption Day are just 3 horses to name there that are all going to be well forward and have a great chance of winning. I think the 3 mile chase is also excellent tomorrow. The novice chase, Brave Man's Game, Ahoy Senor, Capodanno, Fury Road, La Presse. There's really good racing tomorrow. And Sir Gerhard, as you mentioned there, going over 2.5 miles, has a lot of speed, and he'll be exciting to watch. So I think it's a good card tomorrow, and it's one to get your teeth into if you're enjoying it on the TV or if you're in the turf accountants and betting responsibly.
Very good. John, we'll let you go and watch events at Old Trafford, I suspect. Thanks a million.
All right, Joe. Take care of yourself.
All right, John. Talk to you tomorrow. John Duggan at Cheltenham, here and off the ball, and very much involved on OTB AM as well, across the morning from 7:30, our daily breakfast show on all our social channels. Manchester United again kicking off against Atletico. 8 o'clock team. If you missed it, Dallo, Varane, Maguire, Tellez. They have Scott McTominay and Fred. They have Jadon Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, Anthony Elanga in, Paul Pogba on the bench. Cristiano Ronaldo leads the line, and Atletico looks strong as well. Griezmann and João Felix leading the line for them. They're in a 3-5-2.
Off the ball.